Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we have great guest with us, Mr. Yuval. How are you,
Yes.
sir?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very
Uh,
much. How are you?
Great. Thank you for coming to our show. Today we have an important topic. We're going to discuss relationships, and he's going to talk about relationships with different um, parts of it, and then see what things we can help everyone to improve on relationships. So tell us about yourself, sir. Tell us about your work. What do you do?
Sure. My name is Yuval, as you mentioned. I am helping people rediscover their relationship with life, with God, with themselves, with their body, with their partner, through whatever they are experiencing in their sex life and relationships.
Mhm.
I believe that how we show up sexually and intimately and relationally with people is how we show up with everything else. And so, yeah, people come to me with all kinds of different challenges that they are experiencing in their relationships, and we explore that. And yeah,
Okay. Okay, great. So tell me, how did you start doing that? Like, when did you start?
so I have started my journey of exploration and research over 10 years ago. Um, I used to be I came from a very religious background,
Mhm.
Jewish religious background.
Mhm.
And then I was in the army for 3 years. And so the environment, needless to say, was not very supportive when it comes to exploration and sensuality and all of that.
Mhm.
And I came out really curious. I wanted to discover everything that is possible to discover about women, sexuality, relationships. And together with that, my relationship with the divine was, um, yeah, I was really far away from seeing the divine in things because I came from a religious background and I was very resistant to everything spiritual. And so for 10 years, I was traveling around since 2012. I was just traveling the world and exploring different scenes from the spiritual aspects of sexuality, like Tantra and Taoism and so on and so forth, to more hedonistic, dark aspects of sexuality, like fetish, BDSM, bondage, and things of that nature. And all was driven by the curiosity to know as much as I can on the subject. And so at some point, about a year ago, I started also helping people. It started by me sharing my thoughts, sharing my heart, sharing what I learned, and people resonated with that and wanted to have my help. So it kind of just unfolded and happened, and here we are.
Mm. Great. Tell me also about there are some ways men and women identify themselves through sexuality.
Well, what is the question?
There are different ways men and women identify themselves through sexuality. What are the ways men and women identify themselves sexually? Are there kind of different things they like to discuss, or there are certain things which they find easy to express? You said they always had difficulty expressing that.
Okay. Um, I'm not sure that I understand what you mean by identify, but I think when you ask about expressing, I think a lot of
Hmm.
people have challenges expressing themselves openly when it comes to not just sexually, but also how they feel, especially men. You know, we've been growing up in a culture that believes, for the most part, that men should pretend that everything is okay.
Hmm.
It's true for women too, but I feel that from my work at least, that men are more prone to pretend that everything is okay and be detached from their emotions and unable to express fully what is happening within them. And not because they don't want to, but because either they are not used to really look within and ask themselves, hey, how do I actually feel? What is true for me? What is alive with me in this moment, so I can share it honestly with my partner? But also because our culture supports, this image of very ultra masculine man that needs to be strong and never cry and never open up emotionally, and that really creates a border between us and our partner and what we are able to experience together. Because in order for us to dive deep together and really experience meaningful relationships, sexually, intimately, spiritually, physically, and so on and so forth, there is a level of deep intimacy and shared realness that is required. And so I feel that a lot of people are just holding themselves back from expressing themselves fully. And it's a shame, because when we share who we are vulnerably and authentically, we eventually will get to connect with the people that actually resonate with us and who we actually are, and not with a mask that we are putting on to show other people,
Yeah, I mean, when I encounter some of these patients, they will come and say, hey, doc, I just want to discuss something, but they would never put, what is the reason, but they want to, oh, we have a problem with erection, we have problem with the intimacy. So, but most of them, they would come for problem with erectile dysfunction, so they'll say, okay, we have problem with this. They do you see that more often a problem than any intimacy issue?
I mean, you are the doctor, so you can know the medical aspects of having erectile dysfunction. For me, I'm supporting them from the aspect of what it means in their relationship. And so a lot of men feel that they're having some kind of dysfunction sexually makes them, especially erectile dysfunction, makes them less of a man. There is something symbolic about a hard cock, that when a man does not have that, they feel less of a man, not a good lover, or and very often they're reluctant from sharing that openly with their partner because they feel this is something that will set them apart. They feel unsafe to share that openly for the fear of her, I don't know, maybe wanting someone else, or wanting to go away, or breaking up the relationship, or thinking they are less of a man, and so on. And so what we do is we explore the depth of it and what does it really mean, and how they can approach that not as a problem that they are having, but rather as an opportunity to dive deeper into deeper understandings of what it means to be a man, really. And maybe an opportunity to rediscover their body and discover new things about sexuality and discover new things about their mind, about their spirit, about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a man in a relationship, and how they can be more authentic and vulnerable with their partner. And so when they stop looking at what is happening as a problem that needs fixing and rather as an opportunity for transformation, there are beautiful things that can happen that I saw happen when people come to me with erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation or all kinds of other quote-unquote problems.
So people come to you more for that for their sexual life, they're not having great relationship, or is it because they have kind of bad relation with their partner, so their relationship is not fulfilling? Is that the reason they come for?
People come to me for different reasons. Some people are not in a relationship and want to be in one. Some people are in a relationship and something is not completely working out. Maybe their heart is closed. Maybe something sexually is not working well. Some people come to me after they experience sexual trauma in their past and they are having challenges opening up to other people. People come with different aspects of what they're experiencing. Regardless, I help them rediscover their entire outlook on life and relationships and experience more depth and more happiness and more joy and more freedom through whatever it is that they are experiencing.
Mm. Okay, so also tell me what are the issues people are having nowadays. Let's talk about some of people who can't find anyone. So, what are the problems they are having with that?
I feel that the people that I met, at least men that I met, that find it challenging to get into any kind of relationship at all and really have been going long periods of times without any intimacy. Usually, it starts with a certain type of either trauma or neglect, some kind of social anxiety or something that happened in the beginning of their manhood that over time got validated over and over and over again by the reality that they were meeting. Because if you start your dating life with social anxiety and never do anything about that, it just continue perpetuating, because you get into a relationship and it's so, and maybe you don't get into any relationships at all, and then you start believing that this is something that is not possible for you. You know, you start believing into the idea that maybe something is broken about you, maybe no women want you, maybe there is no one out there for you, and you start developing deep-rooted fear of even getting out of your shell and connecting with enough people to actually make a chance for you to enjoy someone. And so this is something that I feel happening. When you look at it a little bit deeper, I feel that it comes down to not choosing love over fear. I think that a lot of the reason why people have challenges in general in their life, especially when it comes to connecting with other people, is that their heart is not fully open and they are operating and making choices that are based on fear. You know, when there is a choice of should I go and connect with these people, should I go and express how I feel with these women, should I go and open up, the answer is usually no, because they are afraid. They are afraid of being rejected. They are afraid of opening their heart and falling in love and being hurt, because they've probably experienced that before. And so they let fear detect how they are going to react and how they are going to operate. And what we do together is to slowly and beautifully dive back deep into coming from love, coming from the heart, and coming from a fearless attitude towards expressing yourself fully with women in a way that is playful, in a way that is detached from the outcome and any agenda, and really enjoying the process itself.
Cause problem for their relationships, and so that's one of the reasons they can find. Now, also tell me, with COVID, what has worsened? Is it hard to find now any thing except because COVID has made it worse?
I think to a certain degree, yes, but not to such extent that it's super noticeable, to be honest. Because yes, there were in most cases a few months in which people would not go out there and date, but to be honest, I was mostly working with people from countries that were still slightly open, or at least having the option to go out there and meet people to a certain extent. And also right now things seems to be quiet, going slowly back to normal, at least in most places of where my clients are located, especially in Israel and different parts of Europe. And so I haven't seen like major changes on that front. Something that I did see is actually people who are in relationships and suddenly were spending a lot of time together, especially if they have kids. That raised all kinds of new set of challenges that were not there before, and they could just go out there and be alone for a while.
Okay. Also, tell me a little bit about this concept of friends with benefits, the way the guys really see it.
Well, I think that on one level there is an evolution to every man, every man's life. There is an evolution. You grow through certain stages. Some people get stuck on one stage, but usually it goes being young, being a little bit awkward with women, maybe rediscovering yourself, like, puberty, rediscovering who you are sexually and slowly growing, maybe having first love. And then usually a lot of men, especially if they experience some challenges in the beginning connecting with women, they get into a place in which they want to experience as much as possible. So they become some kind of a playboy, or just enjoy fucking around for a while, which there is no problem doing it as long as you're doing it ethically and honestly and, keeping everybody safe. And then there is a point in a man's life, which hopefully he gets to, which he realizes that there is more than, how many people you can have sex with, and that there is something potent and beautiful and deep and serious and divine in every person that you are sharing sexual energy with, whether it's one night or 1 year or 3 years, it doesn't really matter. And when you get to that point, I feel there is a whole well of depth to what you can experience in relating with women that is open up for you. And I think when in our culture people talk about friends with benefits, or they refer to certain partners as not very serious, and I feel that we have this tendency in the culture to differentiate between a relationship that is serious, which is mean a monogamous relationship, we are just with each other forever, or have some plans or kids or whatever, or marriage, and then there is all the rest, which is not really serious. And I really feel that this kind of attitude disregards the importance and the depth and the beauty that can be found in these short-term or physically based relationships, that once you're open to explore and honor the beauty that there is in exploring and connecting physically and emotionally with another being, no matter what you're planning together, and no matter if you are monogamous or serious about each other long term and so on. And in my view, there is no such thing as not a serious relationship, and I think that describing a relationship is not serious or friends with benefits is just running away from commitment, because commitment is not something that has to do with what we are planning to do together in the future. It's something that has to do with how committed I am right now as we are together to your well-being, to your level of happiness, to your enjoyment, to your safety, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I truly feel that the more we see every person that we connect with physically and emotionally as a beautiful soul and a being that we need to respect and honor, the more love and beauty and joy and freedom we will be able to experience in this lifetime and in relationships.
Okay, so also tell me a little bit about most common mistakes people make in the bedroom.
Most common mistakes people make in the bedroom.
Like, are they having more issues with intimacy? Are they having, let's say, things? There was some article about that putting TV in the bedroom actually ruins your sexual relationship.
I feel that, at least from my perspective, people that come to me, the challenges they usually experience is either trying to play a role that they are not, like trying to be someone who they are not, to be overly confident, or to be try to play like they know what they're doing, or they are promiscuous if they are not, or trying to play like they are really soft lovers when what they actually want to do is be more dominant, or like explore some other elements of kink and BDSM and things like that. And so the main thing that I see is people just not being honest with who they are, and feeling maybe either a little bit shy or insecure when it comes to expressing what they actually want to do with their partner. And another thing is, I feel that a lot of men, especially men, women too sometimes, but I feel that it's predominantly a men thing. They get fixated on where they want the relationship or this sexual encounter to go.
Mm-hmm.
They sacrifice stages that are very important, like making someone feel safe, or talking about sexual health, or talking about what are your expectations from this connection before they engage sexually with someone. And I feel that when we, as men, acknowledge how much sexual abuse and ambiguity and trauma women have been exposed to, unfortunately, in our culture, we realize how important that is to make sure that she feels nourished and seen and safe, and to take it slow, and to make sure that she knows and feels that it's okay to take it slow, and it's okay, and you will never do something that she's not comfortable with. And I think that's something that a lot of people, especially if they are not in a long-term relationship, but rather dating around, it's something that they tend to miss out on. And a lot of times when I teach men how to do it, like how to open up a discussion about sexual health and about expectations and things like that before engaging sexually with someone, they have the reaction of like, wait, but this will it not ruin the moment, In reality, though, and I'm sure every woman that is listening to that will agree with me, so as every woman I've ever spoke about it with, not only it will not ruin the moment, but it's actually going to make her feel so much more attracted to you and so much more relaxed and open and safe with you, that she will feel much, 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 much safer and much more comfortable sharing with you, her body and her mind and her soul and intimate moments. So, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that they should just kind of discover themselves first and kind of focus on few things which are realistic rather than looking for things which are not realistic. Right.
It wasn't what I was saying, but it's true too. I think that starting with exploring your own body is the first stage, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Also, tell me a little bit about some of the tips for women. So, some of things which women ignore or they should be focused more than.
Something that I see happening a lot is women having difficulties stating clear boundaries. A lot of times when they are in the heat of the moment and they actually like the guy and they want to explore him, but they don't feel comfortable yet to go that far with them. They don't want to ruin that, and they don't want to be perceived as rudish or like not fun. And so they tend to cross their own boundaries and not noticing it and ending up feeling uncomfortable or violated, or that some of their boundaries are crossed. And so what I help or try to help women do is to be more clear about what it is that they want, what are their boundaries, and being able to state them clearly, comfortably with men, to really set boundaries and take responsibility of their own safety. Another thing which also is related is taking ownership of their own pleasure. I feel that's something that I've experienced personally with lovers in my life, but also I hear a lot from women and men alike, is that a lot of women got used to rely on the men to provide the pleasure that they are seeking. A lot of women don't even masturbate or don't know how to make themselves come. It's actually a reality, which I was surprised by, but it's true. And the reason is because they oftentimes, maybe culturally, maybe they just how it's happened in their first few encounters with men, so they just got used to it. Different reasons, but I think it's very important to take back ownership of your own pleasure, to realize that your pleasure is your responsibility, that expecting a man to know his way around your body from the second time is unrealistic. Even if he's amazing in bed, everybody are different, and every woman I've ever met have a very different way of experiencing her body, a different way that she orgasmed with, different things that she likes, different fantasies, and so on and so forth. And so taking ownership of your own pleasure and starting by discovering what it is that you like actually, that you can later on express that with a partner, but also having honest conversation with a partner. There is nothing wrong with telling someone, hey, can you do a little bit of that? I actually like that. Direct him, take responsibility.
So it is very important that it to kind of read or understand each other requirement rather than just have this idea in mind. So basically listening to each other and have open channel of communication, right?
Yes, that's very important.
Okay. And so also, so I think we have reached almost to the end of our conversation. So tell me any final tips or final messages you would like to share.
The only thing that I have to say is if we can all act in our life, especially in relationships, less from here and more from here, from our hearts, that would be wonderful.
Okay. So also, honesty, of course, is very important for any relationship. So
Absolutely.
if we are honest in our heart and not just thinking that so that is another person, so have a basis of relationship is honesty, and have heart there in that relationship that defines that relationship much better than anything, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And so with that, I would again emphasize that relationship is like any other aspect, which has to be pure, which has to be honesty, it has to be there. And then, sexual part, relationship or sexual part is also part of it. And like any other, we have to make sure we read each other or understand each other and listen to each other, and then try to help each other. So, with that, thank you for watching our show. You can check out his website. You can tell, is it yuvalman.com, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, YUVALMAN dot
Dot
com.
com. Yeah, it's one. It's man with one N.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, and .com, and so then they can subscribe or have your services, and then um, go from there. Thank you for coming to our show, and it was wonderful, great learning about yourself as well as about what services you provide. Thank you, sir. Take
My
care.
pleasure.